Our topic for today's lesson is tie-dye production. Tie and dye is an old and popular tradition among the Yoruba people of the western Nigeria, and it is produced and primarily worn by these people. This was also done in the ancient city of Kano, where pits are used to dye fabrics. Tie and dye has been used generally to refer to all types of dyed fabrics. So now let's define tie and dye. Tie and dye is a method of designing a textile material in order to give it a new look or appearance that is beautiful than the way it was before. It is a resist method of using different patterns on different parts of cloth by using required materials. We have different ways of achieving our design. So now let's look at some of these ways. We have the tying method, which is the process of tying the areas to be protected from the dye solution with raffia or twine. The reason why we tie those areas is to prevent dye from getting into that area so as to create a design. We also have the folding technique. In this method, we fold the fabric before dyeing it to form a design or shape. The fabric or cloth is folded many times and part of it is soaked in the dye solution. We also have the plaiting method, which is similar to the folding method. Here the fabric is plaited together. By plaiting I mean bringing it together, and thereafter dye is applied. We also have the stitching method. In this method, we use needle and thread to stitch the areas that are to be protected from the dye solution before the fabric is dipped into the dye solution. And lastly, we have the marbling method. So now let's look at some of the materials and tools used in tie and dye. We have bows. We also have anglo. Bows are used to mix dye, and we also wear anglos to protect us from the chemicals used in dyeing fabrics. We also need our chemicals. In tie-dye, we make use of two chemicals, which are the hydrosulfide and caustic soda. The function of caustic soda is to open the pores of the fabric to allow easy absorption of dye, while the function of hydrosulfide is to close the pores of the fabric that has been opened by caustic soda, and also helps to retain the color of dye to the fabric. Another material used in tie and dye is dye. Dye comes in different color, so you can decide to use any type of color you want. We also use strings, otherwise known as rope. It is used to tie the fabric to prevent that area that is dyed from absorbing dye. And lastly, we have our fabric. In tie and dye, the correct fabric used is cotton fabric. The reason why cotton fabric is preferable for tie and dye is because cotton fabric dey easily absorb dye solution.